Legend holds that a 5-year-old Doug Robbins was startled one Sunday morning to be confronted by a very unusual nickel depicting a beaver in a church collection plate. He simply could not resist and promptly switched what turned out to be a Canadian nickel for one of his own, and thusly began a lifelong passion for Canadian numismatics, which would end in one of, if not the most extensive collections of early Canadian tokens ever assembled. After his untimely passing, Heritage Auctions was granted the privilege of auctioning off his astounding collection during the 2018 Chicago Coin Exhibition. In this video, I'll take a quick look at just a few of the highlights from that sale. One of the most exciting coins offered was this 1812 penny token, intended for use in Lower Canada, as the French obverse inscription of Bon Port du Sou strongly indicates, translating as good for 2 sous, which was the known equivalent of a penny at that time, which again matches the reverse inscription. To my knowledge, only 3 of these coins are actually known today, 2 of which reside in the Bank of Canada's national currency collection, making this the only example available to collectors. Graded by NGC as proof 65 brown, the penny token was sold for $50,400. The next coin is an astoundingly well-preserved beaver token from the Northwest Company, dated 1820, primarily operating as fur traders based in Montreal in what was then still British North America, before they were bought out by the Hudson Bay Company in 1821. This specimen is quite possibly unique, possessing a smooth or plain edge as opposed to the usual engrailed edges normally seen. In addition to that, most of these tokens are found with a small hole drilled through the top, a fate from which this token was fortunately spared. Graded by NGC as MS61, the coin was sold for $42,000. The St. John halfpenny is the only known example of its kind. It was purchased by collector Jack Griffin from A.H. Baldwin & Sons in London in the early 1950s, and then subsequently repatriated to Canada. It was last seen on the market in 1976 when it passed into the Robbins collection. It is most likely a trial strike or a pattern coin, as the name of the city of St. John in New Brunswick is actually misspelled as St. John's on the obverse. This nautically themed token was authenticated by NGC at AU 58 brown and sold for $45,600. No view of Canadian tokens would be complete without at least mentioning the bank tokens of the pre-Confederate era. During this period, the Parliament of the Province of Canada amended the Currency Act to authorize private banks to produce legal tender tokens for circulation. Of these, the Bank of Montreal coins were by far the most diverse in terms of their actual design, such as this desirable 1838 side view penny, which was graded by NGC as an AU 55 brown example with a narrow beaver tail variety. It managed to raise $13,200 in its turn. By contrast, this front view penny from the same issuer is an exquisitely bright orange proof example of its type. The 1844 halfpenny was graded by NGC as proof 63 star red and managed to sell for $6,000 when the final bid was placed. Now this is an interesting one. At first glance it appears to be an off-metal Bank of Montreal penny, but closer inspection reveals that it is in fact a Mule coin struck with a Bank of Montreal reverse and a Citibank obverse, dated 1837, struck on a very rough brass planchet instead of the usual copper. NGC assigned a grade of MS60 brown to the coin. This odd piece sold for $2,640. The final bank token I'd like to draw attention to would be this Bank of Upper Canada 1857 specimen halfpenny. The coin is in incredible condition, graded by NGC as SP64 brown and raised no less than $3,840 on its turn. The Magdalen Islands, where this rather well-made penny was in circulation, were ceded to Sir Isaac Coffin in 1787 as reward for his loyal service to the Crown during the American War of Independence. He took it upon himself to order penny and halfpenny coins from Birmingham coiner Edward Thomason to be issued for general circulation on the islands. Shortly after these pennies were delivered, though, he was informed that the issuance of the legal tender coins fell strictly under the dominion of the Crown, and that he was to desist from doing so immediately, and in addition that the order of halfpennies were thusly cancelled, despite the tokens being declared illegal, essentially. Every indication is that they did circulate widely on the island for years. This example was graded by NGC as proof 66 brown and managed to sell for an equally impressive $12,600. One of the numerous privately issued tokens of this period was the firm of the brothers William and Thomas Molson. Brewers, distillers, shipbuilders, and much later, bankers based in Montreal. Although their 1 sou coin was well produced and from all accounts well received in the marketplace as well, it was supposedly produced at a loss, and as a result, not very many of these were struck. The coin was graded as MS63 brown by NGC and raised $4,080 at auction. Next up is a famous Ropery token of R.W. Owen. This piece is undated, but Owen's Ropery was apparently established around 1824, and the company was sold to a larger competitor shortly thereafter, considerably narrowing the possible date of issue. It is estimated that only around 15 or so of these have survived to this day. Interestingly, you may have noticed the similarities in the design between this and the St. John token displayed earlier. This would strongly suggest that the same engraver might have been responsible for both pieces. Graded by NGC as VF25 brown, the coin sold for $12,000. The Rutherfords were a wealthy merchant family that operated in both St. John and Harbour Grace. Similar to other merchants, they began to issue these halfpenny tokens as a response to the chronic shortage of small denomination coins and the effective lack of any local currency. This piece is from the 1846 dated issues, and NGC has deemed it to be a specimen strike with a grade of SP65 red-brown, which saw the coin sell for $3,120 at the event. One cannot help but notice the striking similarities between these J.S. Shaw & Company halfpenny tokens that were issued and circulated in Quebec from 1837 and the T.S. Brown tokens from Montreal, issued only 5 years prior. This would indicate that one was either copied from the other, or that they were both ordered from the same Birmingham die sinker contracted by Mr. Shaw. This extraordinary specimen was graded by NGC at proof 65 brown and raised $840. These halfpenny tokens were produced on the order of newly appointed Governor of Upper Canada, John Simcoe, in an attempt to alleviate the chronic shortage of copper coins in his province. His efforts were unfortunately blocked by the Home Office, who denied the request to produce these tokens for circulation. A number of restrikes were produced later on, but of the original striking, less than 25 coins or so are thought to have survived. This one, graded by NGC at a grade of proof 65 red-brown, sold for a final price of $6,000. The Hunterstown Lumber Company was a lumbering operation stationed in Hunterstown, about 25 miles or so from Louisville in Canada East, or what is modern-day Quebec. Starting around 1850 or so, they began issuing script currency and tokens to pay their employees. These tokens were only redeemable at the company store. Today, these tokens are very collectible and usually found in very badly worn conditions. This one was graded by NGC at XF45 and is quite likely the finest known example of its kind. It was sold at auction for $8,400. Let me know what you think of these fascinating pieces in the comment section below. Remember to stay subscribed to WNN and activate notifications with the bell icon to be notified when new videos are uploaded. For the World Numismatic News, I am Numisman saying thank you for watching, keep collecting, and have a great day.